Hello Transurfers and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia and this is TransurfingTV, y'all. Remember to like this video, subscribe, and comment below. My world is taking care of me to enter my daily giveaway for my reprogramming stickers. What? Today we are going to talk about turning the negative into positive, which is actually a very, very easy thing to do once you have set up the formula and committed to some habitual kind of systematic practice, making it your second nature. Instinctually, human beings have evolved and survived as a species because of our ability to perceive threat, right? To constantly forge ahead, even though things have been challenging, things are challenging. There's, lack and survival stuff and predators and all of these things. So we're actually programmed to see negative first, because if we didn't, right, if we were programmed to, there's a butterfly, or look at that beautiful stream, when we were evolving as a species, something would have come and just bitten our head off. So we had to continuously be able to recognize and perceive the negative of what possibly can happen, just so we would ensure our survival. That is no longer the case, because we do not have predators coming at us in the same way. I mean, we still have stuff, but not nearly as bad as we did when we were, cave dwellers. But now we have some other options as humans, and it's about setting the intention to shift your thinking over from scarcity mentality, lack mentality, fear-driven thoughts or beliefs, all these cup half empty, all that kind of stuff, shifting it over to my world's taking care of me and everything's going according to plan and things are working out beautifully and will continue to do so with ease. Because remember, again, thoughts, emotions, and beliefs put you into a frequency which attracts that which reflects back to you, your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. So keeping them positive, keeping them high, ensures that you're attracting higher quality stuff, right? So let's talk about the positive a little first. Gaining awareness to the higher good you have access to is best done by letting go of limiting or limited perspectives. Okay, so this is where, for me personally, I have really pushed through to a higher state of being, is evolving up out of the limiting beliefs that kept me in my box, right? So for those of you that don't recall the box of limiting beliefs video I did, we are only going as far as our belief system will take us. So what I like to envision is that my ceiling is my highest belief. If I want to extend beyond that, have something better, have something higher, have something more rich, I need to raise that ceiling up. And the way that I raise that ceiling up is by letting go of my limiting or limited perspectives. So it's not so much about me doing something positive, it's me letting go of the negative, right? Starting to really break down some of those walls and that ceiling of the box that is keeping me in the position that I'm currently in. This is how I'm doing this right now, is I'm just breaking down all of those limited beliefs and I'm expanding up out of that box. So expanding your worldview, trusting that there's more out there, trusting that you're only seeing a very, very, very small percentage of what is possible, and being in the positive will definitely help you to connect with some of those sectors of reality that you won't connect with if you're in this space, right? Are you willing to trust your world? This is a big one, and I'm going to tell you 2 brief stories that I've heard that really help to hit this idea home. So the first story is of the guy that buys the radio for his car. He goes shopping. He can only afford the cheapest one. He has it put in his car, and a couple days later, the car gets broken into and the stereo gets stolen, and he says, oh my God, I could only afford the cheapest one, and now even that got stolen. What a shitty situation, right? But the insurance company pays him for the radio, and the money that he gets from the insurance company actually allows him to buy the premium one at the store. So even though it seemed as though something negative had happened to him, something positive had happened to him for him instead. And the reason that this is a valuable lesson is because maintaining negative thoughts, maintaining a negative attitude, always looking at the glass as half empty, always, feeling like things are a struggle and nothing's working in your favor. It takes a lot of energy to do this. So if you can just trust or learn to trust instead in place, you can use all that energy. So all that energy that guy felt or had to use, like feeling bad for himself and the situation and the negative thinking and being upset that the car stereo got stolen, all that stuff, that required energy. If he could have just said, my stereo got stolen, interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out. He just saved himself a bunch of emotional stuff, energy, really keeping himself, if he could have done that instead, keeping himself on a higher track where his frequency wasn't diminished, therefore connecting him with more of the same. So looking at a little bit from the negative side, when you experience, the other story really briefly, I just read this one and it's really, really good representation too. A guy sets the intention that he wants to make more money, and then he gets demoted from his job, and he's like, well, wait a second, I wanted more money, not less. So instead of taking the demotion, he decides that he's going to start his own business once and for all, something that he had been considering for a while, and 7 years later, he ends up making a bunch of money, but it didn't happen in the time frame, and it didn't happen in the way that he perceived it, right? Sometimes you have to take, or the way that he intended it for it to happen, sometimes you have to take a step back to reroute yourself and get going in the direction where your intention actually can be fulfilled. So I say that here, embrace that there is more than one straight route to your intention. Thinking that it's all just going to be green light, green light, green light, green light, green light, right? Maybe you have to sort of take a step back to then recalibrate and put you in the direction of your intention. Look for the lessons every time you encounter something that seems against your intention. There is always a lesson there, and this is where real growth comes from, right? Actually encountering lessons, acknowledging them, and holding on to them. One of the things that I applaud myself for, and I'm very happy with this part of my personality, is that I can see the lessons in things, and I don't have to learn a lot of the same lessons over and over again like most people or some people. I know a lot of people, they just keep like seeing the same thing, and I have definitely done that at times, especially with relationships, but professionally and in some other areas of my life, I've been able to recognize the lesson and be like, okay, here it is. Here's the lesson. Seize this now, because you want to learn it, like you don't want to have to learn this again. Just take the opportunity as it is now and hold on to that and run with that, so you don't have to learn that lesson again and suffer that setback or whatever it is that transpired for that lesson to present itself to you. Change your wording. I talked about this in another video recently, and this has been my latest thing, and I'm really developing this, and it's a lot of fun. It's just as simple as it sounds. Change your wording about things. If something seemingly negative happens, like let's say you wreck your car, right? You're, oh my God, I wrecked my car. Instead of talking about it in a negative way, say, wow, that was really interesting, right? That was really interesting that I connected with that version of reality. Or what a bizarre thing to happen. I wonder what's going to come out of that. Really present it as though to yourself, as though it's something that's going to facilitate something higher and better for you, even if it is just a lesson, right? But it may, just like the car stereo story, it may, and Piera, she was the perfect example of this. She had her car stolen, and then she got a better car. But at first it was really, really challenging for her to understand why and what had happened exactly. And well, I'm resonating at a high frequency. Why is this stuff happening? This stuff's happening because something higher is down the line and this thing needs to happen. Remember, duality, throwing things into a good category and a bad category, good or bad. This is really where we get kind of messed up as humans, because then we're constantly categorizing what event or what thing needs to go into what category. View everything as positive, everything headed in the right direction always. And remember, if you are continuously connecting with your higher self and your higher good, keeping your thoughts as high as possible, keeping your actions high, keeping your frequency high, you are headed in a high direction. So anything that seems like it's negative, you can start to really trust that it just seems that way. It's actually not that way, especially if you are on a really hardcore path of self-development. Remember the inversion technique that's in this book. This is really just taking any circumstance, any event, anything that happens to you, and responding to it as though it's positive. Flipping it upside down, your car gets a flat tire on the freeway, you are going to respond as though your world is helping you, helped you avoid an accident ahead, helped you avoid something else that was going to befall you. Really starting to approach everything that happens from a positive, your response is going to remain positive, because remember, thoughts, emotions, beliefs attract more of the same, because that is your frequency. Whatever your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are, that is what your frequency consists of, or that's how your frequency is affected by these things, and you will attract more of the same. So you get a flat, you start going into the depths of despair and thinking your world's not working for you and all is going to hell, then you are going to attract more of that stuff and induced transition city, right? So this is my brief little breakdown from negative to positive. And let me know, are you 100% here? Are you 75? Are you 50? Are you about 50-50? How can you tilt it a little more so you are seeing the positive and shifting away from negative mindset and lack mentality and all the different little things that our human brains like to focus on that could go wrong, and what will go wrong, and how am I negative, and all that stuff. How can you start to tilt it and spin it in your favor to keep your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs high so you can attract more of what you want? So let me know your thoughts on this, everyone. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and thank you so much for watching my video. Bye.